Hey there, I'm Eternal, and I'm an Object Show fan that has barely watched any Object shows. We have to fix that. Let's play Object Catchup. Welcome in to Object Catchup, the series where we talk and discuss Object Show episodes right after watching them, whether they are new or old, famous or unknown. It doesn't matter. We will get to it all. Now, for today's episode, we're going to be doing a little bit of a special because we are taking pretty much an entire full focus on Project Breakout. Um, Project Breakout, which as of currently talking, has not had its latest episode released just yet because it'll release in a couple of hours. However, we have to, of course, catch up with the previous 3 episodes. So, Project Breakout is created by Daniel Rapitis. Sorry for the mispronunciation of the name, most likely. Um, which is a series that started roughly 3 years ago with its original episode, has had many numerous hiatuses between episodes, but however, its latest episode, episode 3, was 8 months ago, and it is having a new release today in a couple of hours. And of course, we want to talk all about it. Let me know if you're listening to this what you think of the idea of covering something like this immediately after releases, because I did it for Teapot 20. I'm not sure, maybe like too early. Doing it like immediately after an episode, it could be too early. Maybe I need to give it time, like a day or two before I cover it. But for today, I decided that this was the main focus. A few additional things. I do know that there are requests that I have received some comments for stuff to watch. I will get to it eventually. I will make sure to make a video where I cover these requests. However, for the meanwhile, that there are new releases to cover and to talk about, that is not what we're gonna be currently doing. But once there's a gap in schedule, I'll make sure to look at it all together at once. And yeah. So, as usual, the shout out goes to Mikey for creating Object Show Roundup. It is a Saturday, which usually means that there is supposedly an episode of Object Show Roundup incoming today, I think. So, make sure to keep an eye out there, of course. Very important that you go support him, considering this is where, the original idea for this arises from. And yeah, other than that, we don't got much else to say. Let's start off here with Project Breakout. I haven't watched any of this. I don't know what this is about, but we're starting with episode 1. It's called Hit the Road. Let's go. Well, that is a lovely little episode that I just watched. I can't even lie. That was episode 1, and now I'm understanding the premise and I like this. Okay, so episode 1s, of course, they always have the big challenge. They have a big challenge. Introduce the contestants, right? However, I think that this does it excellently. First of all, of course, it does have the advantage that it is long, like it's a 20-minute, but in general, it introduces our cast of 14 pretty exquisitely within sort of their pairs. You can see the trio of Phone, Walkie Talkie, and Smoke Bomb early, and you can sort of see their dynamic. Phone, like Walkie Talkie, is a more leadery character. Smoke Bomb, a bit more rebellious and more angry, while Phone is a little bit more of the tired follow along, I guess. We have a Canteen showing up, which is the older one, doesn't understand things that well. Has the whole backstory. Pastry, nobody knows what's going on with Pastry. Then we have the intro. I personally would have put the intro post, like, into the chat when the challenge starts, in my eyes, because the intro spoils us on the characters that we hadn't seen yet. So I would have liked to be a bit, had the bus scene arrive before the whole scenario, so that way it wouldn't get necessarily spoiled on the characters. Of course, we get to see them immediately after, but yeah, either way, we get to know the characters and the intro. The intro is quite nice, quite fun. Um, then we get to see the next dynamic, which is Pin Pad and Glow Stick. Now, originally, I thought they were going to be more like enemies, but they're more frenemies, where it's like, sure, they sort of beefing, but they could just hang out all the time anyways. Pin Pad going like, oh, Glow Stick, you dumbass, I'll hang out with you, the type of dynamic. So I like them. Those are probably my favorite so far. Then there's the little fellow without arms, which is a bit upset. Then we get to see the pumpkin bucket. The pumpkin bucket is sort of extremely extroverted character, meanwhile, we get Watermelon, which is the more extremely introverted character, kind of shy, doesn't speak up pretty much ever. Um, Pumpkin Buck is the type of character that speaks too much. Then you can see the host, which is what the hell is your name? That this should be hilariously obvious. I don't remember it. It's like Container, yeah. Um, Container, as far as the host, seems relatively chill. I mean, lied about the prize. We don't know what the actual prize, but lied about the prize, but seems to be relatively, like relaxed in the way that they handle the hosting. They're driving along. They seem to be relatively on par with everybody else. They don't seem to have crazy powers or anything. They seem to be they seem to be chill. Seem to be honest. Like, okay, you can quit if you want. You can do whatever. There's a bus that takes you back. They don't just strand people, right? Like, it seems relatively good as a host so far. Of course, as usually hosts, there's always something up with them. So I'm expecting them to probably get darker in future episodes. But at least for the right now of the situation, I think that they are rather cool for sure. Um, then honestly, we get to see more of the characters. The phone screen is just cracked now. I wonder if that'll ever get fixed. We get the introduction of confessionals and confessionals is a big yes. Love confessionals. Confessionals are a W in reality shows. Okay, so yeah, a confessional is basically a little side place where they bring the competitors over, right, and then they talk about their plans and how they felt about the challenge or whatever things are happening. Um, this is a thing that they use in real reality shows because that way you get to hear more of why the decisions are in the way because they won't usually speak them out loud, right, to the person speaking. So the confessions are a good way to do that, and they do that a lot in like Total Drama as well, because Total Drama is a parody of reality shows, so they have the parody confessionals. Um, but yeah, it's makes sense to not necessarily do it in object shows because in object shows, right, it's like usually not real, and it's more weird to write a confessional when you like aren't directly when and it's not like a real all this happened, like you have to script it out. So I see why people dodge making confession for object shows. However, adore it as a concept. I think more people should try out the concept of making confessionals. Actually, do. I know there's a couple of shows that do this, but as far as the one that we've had on Object Catchup, I think this is the first that I've had with confession. But I know they exist in other ones. But yeah, confessionals, love them. They are super cool. So then we get to see some fellows. We get to see Onyx, which is sort of British. Then the chef hat is sort of French. Canteen, as I said, a little elder. Is there anybody else I haven't mentioned? Maybe. Oh, I haven't mentioned Pauper. Sort of kind of the goofy, dumb character, but that gets by. Then we get the challenge format, which I also really like. I really like the way that these challenges seem to be structured because they're just objective challenges. In my opinion, objective challenges are the best challenges, right? Because like you can proper write them. Objective challenges. Last one is out. It's not like voting when you could discuss the voting makes no sense, and then it's not um like elimination whatever. So not like the first two save and then everybody else up for vote. Like it's just straight up the last one gets out. And I like that as an idea. I like that as a concept because it's more objective. It's more cool. Um, and it's more for real. Like you can't not write it properly. You can't make the not the last person be the last person. So in my eyes, I think that is a good challenge contest. So the chances of being get the pumpkin, I'll take the moment to say that yeah, animation is really good. Voice acting, okay, I will be honest. There is a very tiny amount of I think quality mic difference. Some of them is intentional, like of course there's an effect with a walkie-talkie. However, on general, I think everybody has a pretty solid voice. I didn't mind any of the VAs. They're all doing a pretty good job. Um, the animation quality is also very very good. It's very very professional feeling. Like for example, the shot at the start of the challenge when the gunshot goes up, adore it. It doesn't mean that there is a gun, so that's a little bit. I'm just saying it's a suspicious detail. You know, we got guns. Though the host has guns, I'm sure they're allowed to operate them, but like, you never know what might happen when you give a little host a gun. You know, there can always be some sort of weird stuff happening. But yeah, eventually they all go off and hit the road. So, which is the name of the episode, by the way. I did not even say that on purpose. That's fun. So everybody has to find pineapples. Glow stick is sort of just I glow stick has this I'm better than everybody's like uh attitude to them, and it eventually bites them back because this spade fella that I don't remember what they're called. They're called like Rekai, Rekai, like oh I don't remember. But either way, they're sort of stealthy. Ninja type character ends up stealing the pumpkin without him even noticing. Eventually, Pinpad notices. Pinpad is sort of like, yeah, I like those two's dynamics. You know, it's sort of the logic versus the non-logic, right? And then they sort of combine as a duo, and they nearly get completely screwed. But yeah, they end up being the chef hat gets there. Kunai, yeah, I think. Popper tries to survive by just getting grass after being very annoying. Successfully does manage it. So, you know, sometimes you can break the rules if that means that you annoy the host, the container. Which, by the way, interesting thing about the container's design, it does have a lock on it. Now, of course, that'd be weird because, of course, you can open the container. What? But I'm just saying, it's details. They could be interesting. These are the types of high-level shows where I would expect these details to sometimes matter. So I'm going to point them out, and then I'll look cool if they end up being true in episodes 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, Phone yet again gets completely tired out after running a bit. And then we find out Onyx, which is apparently an old friend of Smoke Bomb. Now, what happens? I don't know. But again, we're getting set up here to a relationship. Okay, sure. These two had a thing happen. All right, they were friends, and then they had an altercation, and now they're not friends. And you can tell Smoke Bomb is very pissed off at them, but while Onyx is more swag, like it seems more like Onyx hurt Smoke Bomb, or like Smoke Bomb hurt Onyx, because Onyx seems relatively relaxed, sort of doing the badass archetype, while some everyone's like, fuck off, you know? So that's interesting. Of course, that's gonna be developed in the other episode. We don't know what's up with that yet. Had the three pineapples happen to completely pop themselves over immediately, which is certainly something. Then Canteen takes the opportunity to just take the pineapple that Watermelon finds, but because Watermelon, yet again, is sort of just a shy character. It's a bit afraid to say no, a bit afraid to, offend off for herself. Um, so yeah, the flippin' plant vase thing, which I don't remember the name of. Apologies, I'm not exactly remembering anybody's name yet. Finds a little fake one, but apparently they'll have a disadvantage in the next challenge, which, I mean, of course, it depends what the next challenge is, but it does. Oh, Planty? And they're having a nice challenge. Eventually, right when they realize that there's only 2 spots left, it's finally the time where Pinpad and Glowstick realize that they have to lock in. I don't know what those two were doing like half the time. They found a pineapple, one pineapple immediately. We're just chatting, and then like I don't know, those two are like best buddies. Watermelon does manage to find a pineapple in time. But just trips and eventually falls out. I could realistically predict this because they set up the dynamic between Pinpad and Glowstick too much to like separate them immediately, right? Like to just get rid of one of them. Like these Glowstick only proper like Pinpad for no Glowstick spoke to somebody. Pinpad pretty much only spoke to Glowstick this entire episode like that. So it would have been far too weird. Pastry, by the way, just safe. They didn't write pastry like actually getting the pineapple. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, pastry just going out. And then watermelon gets out. You know, the first boots. This makes sense. I honestly wouldn't have predicted that. I would have probably. I don't know what I would have predicted. I would have probably predicted Popper, to be honest, because Popper is just that sort of kind of dumb character that's like, wait, what's going on? Right? So I would have thought, oh, you get out because you don't know what's going on. However, a watermelon does get out, which makes sense, not that fierce of a competitor type player, so then won't exactly be one that's going to be making it very far. Anyway, so the first boot is nice. We get to see all the competitive players get to remain on the board while Watermelon gets out. Although the Watermelon design is certainly cool. And then they drive off. Now, that is all pretty cool. We got to see the credits. What's the post-credit scene? Oh yeah, Smoke Bomb just absolutely pissed in the bus. For some reason, there's like a little crash with the container there at the end. I have no idea what that is. Maybe the bus like hit something on the road. Maybe that's what I would guess it to be, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I honestly have no idea. Then we get that. We get just a normal YouTuber outro at the end, which I'm sorry, I'm not used to seeing those in object shows. Um, just the classic YouTuber outro, but there's literally nothing wrong with it. I just find it interesting how that's the thing. Um, okay, what else is the other details that I was gonna be saying? Um. Writing up this episode is fine. There's a few details that are a little bit odd, in my opinion. Like, there's a bit of, like, I think, writer lingo that gets over into the typing. Because, like, for example, two different characters, if I'm not mistaken, say the word capiche, which, like, if one character says the word capiche, cool, that's part of their vocabulary, that's like a custom thing. But two different characters saying capiche is not something that would ever happen on accident, right? Like, it's too rare of a word for two characters in the cast to be pulling out capiche in one day. You know, like sometimes it feels like that's a little bit like writer language coming in. It's like the writer knows the words and uses it, but like it's a bit of a rare word that is not usually used. So I would criticize that. And other than that, I would criticize that sometimes arguments aren't necessarily too um don't feel like necessarily the most reactionary. Like sometimes when somebody says something mean, like there needs to be a more immediate reaction. We know, like for example, when the trio sometimes is dissing each other, I feel like there's like a more significant gap between like somebody said the thing and the other going, "Hey," like a weird second there when usually it would be shortened for that specific scenario. But other than that, yeah, writing is good. Animation is good. Every music is good. I mean, I didn't actually pay that much attention to the music. I'm gonna be honest. Apologies to wait. What is the music? There is music. I don't know. I honestly didn't pay attention to it, but that means it's doing a good job because I didn't have to notice it. But yeah, I think that's all for episode one, Hit the Road. It's a very nice episode one, and I'm very interested to turn into episode two, which is titled Shell-abrating by the Sea. So far, out of the three episodes, it is the longest one of the three. However, I don't know if episode four will be longer, but episode two is the longest one of the three. Um, I'm interested because they released a long time after ever two whole year break between Project Breakout 1 and 2. But I'm proud. I'm proud of this show for escaping the wrath of the episode 1 that's too good and then they can't make the other show again. So yeah, let's watch Project Breakout episode 2, Shell-abrating by the Sea. Let's go. Alright, I have just finished watching episode 2 of Project Breakout. Now, one thing that I think becomes immediately apparent with this is that honestly, this does suffer a little bit from the thing of when a show takes a really long time between episodes, you can sort of see certain decisions made and certain processes changed. But since it's like only been like one episode, but so much time between them that it sometimes feels a bit awkward because there's not like a proper transition period. It just feels like we're going from one point to another point. Um, and I think it's noticeable, for example, in design wise, like with the phone fella, whose design sort of changes itself around a bit, um, rather than before. What's the main thing that changed? The crack. Like you see, the design of like the crack has changed. Then the design itself just got a bit more refined, and it's like I don't know if it's necessarily a quality upgrade that much. Like I don't know if I consider it that much of an upgrade in quality. It's more like a quality sideways. Like it's remained at the same level, which is very good, by the way. The assets in the show look very good. Everything was very good. But sort of going sideways in the sense that it's like it's just kind of different stylistically a little bit, you know. But I don't necessarily feel that it's that much better or worse. There's a few interactions which I also find a little awkward. I have no idea what's going on with the segue into the intro, which is this whole dark like patch, which apparently was the walkie-talkie. Seeing it, maybe you get the intro again. I think the intro is the same. Um, and then, but I'd more predict that it was on the side of the host. Okay, so let's talk about the host here for a moment. Let's talk about Container. So Container here says an extremely interesting detail that they hear a strange voice in their sleep and they haven't had slept properly here, so they just don't sleep. They just don't sleep. You know, this is the way it is. So they seem to have been, I guess, stunned by hearing walkie-talkie at all. And so that's maybe their vision. That was Container's vision, segueing into the intro. That's what I would say. So this host, earlier in episode 1, I said that they weren't evil. In my opinion, Container wasn't evil. Now, do I keep this opinion heading into episode 2? Yes, I actually do. I think that Container is not evil in my eyes so far. However, I do think that there will be an evil entity. I'm predicting, all right, from seeing how this is going, especially the post-credit scene, but we'll talk about that later. I'm predicting that this fella's an insomniac, right? So they don't sleep. And when you don't, like when you sleep, there's a nightmare and there's a whole situation, right? um where there's a voice, there's this fella in your dreams, but then then you're just like, okay, don't sleep, so then it's sort of invading. So I'm imagining that there's like some sort of sleep paralysis demon going on that could take over the show if they like get too tired, you know, if they literally pass out sometime. Maybe a sleep paralysis demon could come through. We know that it's a container, so there is the possibility that something is within it, you know, in the container itself. There could be some sort of sleep paralysis demon fella, which that's what I'm thinking might happen in the future of the show. For the dark for the show to turn darker. I'm predicting that's what's happening because I don't. It's not all fun times here. Now Glowstick and Pinpad, these two are weird. Okay, because today in this episode, they are sort of weird because they sort of reversed roles in a way. Like in episode 1, Pinpad was sort of the one dictating the conversation. Glowstick was just kind of talking shit. And then Pinpad was like, okay, what are you doing? What's up? What's going on? Right? But in this episode, we get the opposite way around, which definitely made me feel, it definitely felt a little off because like Losick is the one dictating the conversation. How are you? What's going on? What are you doing? And Pinpad's the one being more awkward, can't reply. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. I'm not gonna say that it's like a writing mistake. I just think that it's a little off, you know, from feeling like it could be correct, but it's off. Also, one thing I find weird is Canteen complaining about the conversations that Pantry and the Pumpkin Bucket had, because like, come on, out of all conversations you could be complaining about pirates, you know what a pirate is? What do you mean nonsensical conversation? Bro, G talk about nonsensical conversation, and it's pirates. That was probably the biggest worry when you were screw off. They're making no sense. Anyway, they eventually arrive at the beach. The challenge is to find a that Sundew Beach because the challenge is to find a treasure, a little statue, a star statue that is usually beneath the ground around the beach. Last one to find one wins. True, this is quite similar to the previous challenge, which is a thing in lore. Now, what do we think about that? I don't really know. I mean, I like this challenge concept, the challenge of everybody has to find the thing. Because a lot of the time I think that that is the best way to do the challenge. Because I mentioned in the last one. But when you have this challenge where it's like only the first person to find it wins, then it's luck. But usually the last person to find it is truly the worst one. Right? Like they've done something wrong to be last, right? So that's why I think this challenge works within this system. So I like this challenge. I don't mind seeing it again, but yes, it is true that it is again. The captains go on and roleplay. Now, Bobber apparently can't use any shovel or digging tool. They get to keep the sword, so I guess they don't necessarily just, I don't know. So yeah, again, you see glow stick in the scene when they're digging. Like you see, he's the one dictating the conversation, which is not something that like ever probably happened. It's like, okay, what's going on? What are you doing? Are you lying? Are you not lying? In the confession, they say you're lying. It's not exactly how glow stick acted in episode 1. Now it's possible that, of course, it's a matter of acquaintance. Now it's multiple days since the fellows have met each other, right? Rather than just the 1 hour. So it makes sense to have more of a nuance, of an understanding of asking what's up, but yeah, it is still a detail. Now, people complain about the walkie-talkies idea. They're just debating too much. The detection app on the phone. Honestly, part of me thought that they were gonna do the detection app doesn't work because the screen's broken. I thought that was what they were gonna do. I thought that the screen was gonna be broken. So, I can't use the detection app because the touch sensitivity doesn't work. But no, it does work. Yet again, these three have their own little thing, their own little scene. There's a lot of scenes in this episode. This episode is trying to be deep. I can't even lie. Like this episode is trying to give us lore. It's trying to give us a lot of lore, a lot of context, a lot of scenes, a lot of discussion, a lot of life advice for the characters, right? So but honestly, I might up about that for an insane amount of time. So here they talk about you like taking risks. And it's like, so what? Which then again, it feels a little weird because of what we know. Like I don't know what risk Walkie Talkie and the trio have taken with the ideas, but like the only ones that we know of is to use a map, which is not exactly the most dangerous thing of all time. I must say that I don't think Walkie Talkie's idea of using a map to get to a destination is the most risky thing of all time. So, yet again, like that's why I'm sure within their lore, because at least phones flashbacks seem to imply that they've nearly died out there in the past. But, yeah, as far as what we know, walkie-talkie spawns aren't that big of a deal. Because like in the last challenge, what even was walkie-talkie spawn? Walkie-talkie spawn was to find the pineapples. That was it. No, the plan was to run. That was it. That was literally the extent of walkie-talkie spawn, just running. So I don't. It's not the most dangerous thing. Oh wait, Kunai or Kurai or whatever. How do I still not know your name? Is just unbelievably good. Like, I mean, as far as these two challenges go, of finding the win, they are just the best. Like by a country mile. Like there is literally zero debating. Like as far if this is the show so far, if the show just grab stuff, be the first and do it, and then find challenges to be the first to find it, no, Crab wins by a mile. So far it's not really even a contest, to be honest. So what's going on? Then there's Popper and Pumpkin. Oh yeah, Pumpkin. You see, there's another dude. Every like 30 seconds, there's another piece of lore. There's like this is like the lore buffet. Like the no, they're what are they called? Like the steakhouses or something where there's a fella that comes in every couple of minutes like, hey, would you like this? And it's like, yeah, and like but instead there's like one guy every 30 seconds come in, hey, would you like some lore? So apparently, Pumpkin was um bullied. We don't get to hear too much about it, but it was bullied uh for their personality. So hey, we hear now there's a little bit connection, Popper and Pumpkin as sort of the silly fun characters start combining, start doing their thing. I must say that the VA of Popper felt different. I don't know what is a bar. Yeah, felt different. I don't know. I don't think it's a different VA. Might be a different mic, but the thing is, I didn't hear Bobaton talk that much in the previous episode, so I don't know. But as far as this episode is concerned, definitely felt different. Um, in terms of speaking, for sure. Um, so yeah, Onyx throws them, trying to troll them, and eventually they find a statue, which is pretty cool. Um, so Onyx helps them out. They want to play catch. I'm surprised Onyx doesn't agree to play catch because they're gonna play catch with the statue, and then Onyx just takes it and runs with it. Didn't consider that plan. I thought it would have been a pretty smart strategy to troll those two, but no, apparently not. Um, what's going on? Oh yeah, the chef hat is complaining. For some reason, Barber gets a 1 hour penalty, which is insane. Which is insane because Bob already got a penalty. Like that already happened. Like the penalty was that you cannot dig with a shovel. You cannot use that was the penalty. But no, new penalty, 1 hour. What does that even mean? Because I mean I don't like that penalty because it's like there's no way for the contestant to work around it, right? Like if the while for not digging, not having a shovel, like the cocaine, it's a disadvantage. The contestant can still work to try to go around disadvantage, but they can still do something. A 1 hour penalty is you have to hope that the other people don't finish within an hour, right? So I don't like that if it was a proper competition, but we're talking object show, whatever. So yeah, 1 hour penalty, whatever that means, and then it's been 3 seconds since the last scene we talked about. I have to talk about the next scene. Because this, I mean, definitely the most interesting. So kunai bro, how do I not know what you're called? I am actually so dumb. What are you? What is bro's name? I gotta go to like the intro to find out. Kunai. Okay, Kunai. Kunai, not Kurai. Kunai. Okay. Um, starts questioning, sort of this mentor that character. This question was going on with the plant sprout because they're whole giving up. They're upset. They're just sitting on the floor and it's like, what's going on? And it's just trying to get them to speak, to say them out loud, like what's going on, why, or do you feel this way, doing the whole therapy thing. And then they do successfully do that. We have there's a proper rant, there's like a proper rant that Planty gives out. Oh, I'm an object with no arms. There's no nothing. It's so rare to have an object with no arms. Which, I mean, this is all fair. They speaks a bunch of facts. And it's like, yeah, I'm useless because of this. People troll me and I can't do anything and the whatever. Um, and people treat me like I'm useless. People treat me like I'm not anything. So yeah, it's just all fair. It's a relatively well written scene. And then proceeds to happen is that yet again the chef just finds rock. Chef is absolutely locking in for the challenge, but I just like to point out. I mean, the fella found so much stuff. Definitely seems to be. I mean, as far as competitive, like winning odds, if I were to give odds, this wasn't a show that's probably going to get completely taken over. Within the current rhetoric, I definitely think that the chef would be one of the most likely to go through to like a finale or like win because they just seem to be proper focused on winning all that stuff. But anyway, they throw a rock and then you know what happens? The They proper catch it with the leaves. Like an elite tier catch. And then for a moment, for just a little moment, they can control with the leaves. Like the rock. Get a good throw and do anything. But then it resumes to normal. But for that moment, they could do it. Now I know this is probably some like Candle stuff. So Candle from my eye. I'm imagining that this is in like the inner flame. It's like you'll unlock your powers when you are at peace, with like that type of thing when it's like when you are like the meditating, right? When you are completely devoid of negative thoughts, like when you have spit them all out, when you have accepted within yourself, you will gain a new power, right? That type of thing. So I think that's what's probably going on. So like Kunai starts is gonna decide to mentor them because yeah, I mean, I think there seemed a good one to be a good one to do that. So yeah, I think that's what's going to be going on. The whole mentoring thing is like, okay, we're going to help you establish control of your own mind, and when you control your own mind, you're going to figure out how to control your body in the best ways, and that way we're eventually going to start to see the leaves proper lock in, and then we have the show going on, which is pretty cool. Eventually, Kunai just finds a little finds the statue for them just so that they happen to be safe. The chef one does find the statue. I don't know how Canteen found the statue. I have genuinely no idea. That is not something that I have the knowledge of, but Canteen did manage to find the statue. Um, it was just sleeping on it. I don't. Canteen's elite, just doing nothing and coasting by. But yeah, the chef gets by. Eventually, the canteen also gets by. Um, For some reason, the chef is upset that they're not first, even if like they're like, yeah, that, you're not first. That's fine. You weren't. You. I don't. You're technically not second either because Bobber found one. I guess it is the way it is. Canteen eventually finds it, allows them to sleep on it. I wonder if I wonder if that'll go within the bus. I wonder if we'll see that being used as a continuity piece. I like continuity pieces, so I hopefully we get to see them with the statue in the bus in future episodes. Then Glow Stick and Pin Pad successfully find it at the same time because of course they do. These two are just elite at finding stuff at the same time. They have like shared powers. Um, they also have a gun, which is interesting. What is that? It's like a laser beam gun. You can't just introduce a laser beam gun like that and expect for me to not think that it's going to be relevant in like 2 episodes. Episode 4 is going to be super relevant, the most relevant thing in the world. Um, Then we go back to the trio. So then the trio comes in, and they have like the same amount of object permanence as a potato. Like they don't dig one statue and go, okay, let's submit this and then keep moving. No, we have to go half dig a statue and then go half dig another statue, which allows Onyx to come in and steal it. Now, this is 100% fair decision from Onyx. They are dumbasses, these two. Like, you go half find one of those that's already stuck in the ground to go to another one that's stuck in the ground. Like, you've already located it. Just fucking go grab it later. Nobody's stealing it. You can just go locate another one. Fucking dumb. But yeah, Onyx comes in and successfully takes it, which fair enough. By the way, Onyx has literally no fuss grabbing it. I don't if like Onyx is just better than Smoke Bomb about everything. there's a major skill issue going on. So then they're of course having another little brawl. We get to find out that there was a whole that apparently Smoke Bomb went to jail. I think the whole jail, whatever. The other fellas of the trio didn't know. Maybe they escaped from jail. That is another idea. Uh, Onyx has to pay off debt and whatever. So there's a whole situation. Apparently, as to the others, there's stepping stones. I don't really know what it means, but yeah, Smoke Bomb is pretty upset at the whole situation. My personal opinion, I don't know why phone or walkie-talkie don't intervene in the actual battle itself. Like, okay, Onyx is mildly stronger than Smoke Bomb when going at it, like when trying to fight for fourth. But two is better than one. So like, come on, walkie talkie, you could have helped them catch the thing. Like, bro, do anything. Well, and then the one time they do something is to stop the freaking Smoke Bomb from going back at them, only to fail miserably because Smoke Bomb manages to completely unarm them. Phone is so tired. There's like phone is dying. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with phone, but I'm not predicting they're gonna like stay around for that long. Like they're struggling massively. But either way, yet again, the pastry is finds uh a thing immediately. Don't like this. I'll be honest. I understand that it's the same gag as before, right? With the whole, oh, I found a statue and you weren't here. That's fine for one episode. Can you please write pastry? I would enjoy it. You have this character in your show. You kind of make the gag that they don't exist until they suddenly have one. Like, come on. Also, you know what is annoying about this? You know what I find annoying about this is that it's been over an hour because they've been there for the past hour, which means that the time limit for Barber needs to have been up because it's been over an hour, which means that Barber should have been safe because they did submit the trophy. They just didn't. They just had to wait out the 1 hour to see if everybody else had finished, which means that it is absolutely BS. Bobber should have been safe because it's been over an hour, but whatever, bro. Um, yeah, I have no idea what's going on with um the whole situation. No, it's been over an hour, and Bobber has it. Oh, okay, so Bobber has handed over. It makes sense. You can do it. So then that way everybody else has found it. But it's been over an hour, so they should have been safe. Ah, whatever. I am yapping so much about this episode. But yeah, Bob ends up being the first boot after they give their trophy to Pumpkin Bucket. As far as a boot though, it makes sense. As I was saying, I think they should have been safe because of the line. But yeah, this makes sense. They're sort of the goofy character. They that didn't feel like they had too much to write with it. I mean, maybe they should write maybe they should eliminate Pastry at this point because they really don't want Pastry to do anything. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, they get eliminated. Sort of this fun vibe character that probably doesn't have too much going on with them. And I originally predicted them to get out in episode 1, so then getting out here is like, yep, that seems right. That seems about right. So yeah. Then we head into the post-credits scene, which is first of all, writing a journal. 542 pen pads locking into this journal. So they're writing about it. For some reason, the bus stops while somebody's awake, which is a terrible idea. I don't know what Pinpad would possibly think of this. I really wish we got to see that. Actually, like a confession about it. But yeah, no, the bus stops in the middle. We get to see them walk out. They do stretching, and then, as you can see, there's sort of, I don't know, some like big splash, amazing animation there at the end. But yeah, no idea what actually is happening there. I thought that it was maybe the container opening a little bit, like a portion of it, but it doesn't seem so. It seemed like a sweat droplet. I genuinely don't know. And then we head into YouTuber outro. Let's go. But yeah, as far as an episode, it's good. It definitely gives vibes of an episode that is 3 years later, because some dynamics feel like they're written subtly different, and some designs are, of course, a little bit different. This kind of the way they do things is mildly changed in these 3 years, but in general, I think it's a good episode. It's better than the other one because I've had so much more to say about it compared to the other one. Holy. At this point, episode 4 is probably starting off soon, so let's watch episode 3 called Foodie's Frenzy before episode 4 drops. Let's go. Let's hit it. Let's watch it. Okay, I've just watched episode 3 of Project Breakout, Foodie's Frenzy, and where do we begin? Oh my god. Okay, so first of all, they're all in the sunset, or in the sunrise, I guess, of the morning. I do think that it looks very pretty. I can't even lie. The sunrise looks very pretty with the design, especially Pin Pad in the sunrise with the whole orange hue tinted to it. I do like it quite a lot. It's pretty cool. Then Kunai is over there meditating, doing the thing, while there is Planty over next to them, trying, but yeah, they're not quite capable of, doing it. There's more. They're way more temper tantrum. They're way more bored. But yeah, Kuna trying. Kuna just doing their thing, of meditating while they're nearby. So yeah, Pinpad, as I pointed out in the post credit scene of the other episode, yeah, it does notice that there's something going on with Container because they're awake. I don't know why they don't sleep like ever, and it doesn't really affect them that much. But yeah, Pinpad has been noticing that there's a chemical. I have genuinely like no idea how you would grab the chemical. Like, I don't know how they're like Pinpad's grabbing it now. Like, I understand that Container is going outside and stuff, but like, surely they go back in and drop. Like, if Pinpad were to leave the bus, you would notice, right? Like, I don't know how you're getting these samples, but either way, whatever. Um, Eventually, after roughly an hour of making the challenge, for some reason, things in this episode always take an hour. They end up making a challenge, which is a team relay race, where the teams were you get split into two teams. Then you go make a dish, and then the dish with the worst outcome is up for elimination. Then the contestants themselves vote on who gets eliminated. Okay, which yes, that does break the rules of the show, indeed, because it is not a challenge in the way that it was originally made at the start, where last place gets out, which sucks. Because come on, I want my challenges where last place gets out. That's an amazing concept, and we're not doing it. Come on. But either way, so dude, this is the especially like smoke bomb on the hue as well. There's some nice angles as well. Animation wise, I definitely think that this is an improvement over on episode 2, I'd say. There's a few shots that look weird, but in general animationally this is quite nice, it's quite smooth. There's not like that goes on. Like there's one shot of Pinpad walking in the cold pantry that looked weird, like from the top down. But other than that, everything else was pretty damn solid. So the teams get split up. Team A ends up being what is Team A? Ends up being sort of the broken team because there's Walkie Talkie, Smoke Bomb, which are friends, but of course Walkie Talkie, Suspicious, Smoke Bomb, but Onyx is also there in that team. Glow Stick is there, but not with Pinpad. Well, then the Planty and Kunai are both there together. Well, Team B is sort of the more rest of the pack. The pack they more get along. There is Pinpad, Pumpkin Bucket. Phone is split off from the other two. Canteen's there. Chef Hat. It's sort of just the rest. The ones that didn't have too much going on comparatively to the others. So Glowstick is trying to sort everything out. Doesn't really manage to. Kunai and Planty are trying to figure out how to cook food, how to preheat an oven. For some reason, they're not able to do that. Canteen is absent, but they don't actually go get Canteen. They decide to not do that. They decide to bring them back to win without her, since Chef Hat agreed to do that, which is alright. It's a decision that makes sense from their perspective, probably, because I don't think Canteen was going to be doing too much. Then we got our first little scene of the episode as Pumpkin Bucket and the Pastry finally speaks and does things in an episode. I know, right? Crazy. You don't even ambulance also. But like, even despite that, it's still like actually does things. Not too many things, but does things. You actually get to see Pastry talk with him and go like, yeah, the Pumpkin Bucket is sad because the friends, they come and go, in this competition. They'll leave. I'm not able to form the friendships, which Pastry correctly deduces that, like, okay, I understand, but it's this isn't like the type of competition where getting out means you die. Right, there's a competition. You go back to the city, and then in the city, they're still around. Like it's not like Bobber is gone or whatever forever, and you'll never meet them again. Like it's you're able to meet them if you get eliminated. So yeah, Paisley correctly does the moral uplifting there, and they go find things to say. Now, I will point out one thing here. All right, it's that as we get to the scene where Walkie Talkie and I saw this challenge sucks so much. Okay, so this challenge is a relay race. Apparently, it's a food relay race. But that is a lie. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard. It is not a race. That is not true. Because, like, you don't gain anything from being the first to finish. right? Like if you're the first, it's not like the first team to deliver food wins. No, it's the first team to, like, it's the best tasting food. Like the team with the best tasting food. So it's not a race. There's a global time limit, and then they taste the food. So it's literally not a race. And even if it was a race, the contestants are not caring in the slightest. Literally nobody tried to go even remotely fast. Like, they were like, oh, yes, let me find the ingredients, but first, let me have a 3-minute exposition discussion with this other character where we stand around and do nothing but talk. And it's like, dude, this is not what a race is like. This isn't a race. Please. Whatever. So, Onyx proceeds to try to, get some thoughts in Walkie Talkie's head. I truly don't know what to say about it. Like, to be honest, like Onyx just genuinely just talks fluff. They don't say much. They just go like, "Hey, small bot, not like he seemed. Will I specify any? No, 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 no. But like you see, he's a guy. He's not true to himself. He's got the true colors or whatever. You don't know what's gonna happen when he snaps. He's gonna be evil and stuff. But it gives no details, so it's just like it's kind of bullshit. It just sounds like bullshit, right? And it's like you don't have to believe. Well, then speak. Onyx, give details. Why, like, I whatever. Um, because if you think about it, it's like, why would Onyx do this? Like, I don't know. Like, okay, maybe Onyx has it out against them. Sure, you can have it out against them, right? But like, if you're out against them and you had proper reasons and explanations and whatever, you would just save them, right? Because that means that their friends would turn against them, and then there's the whole situation. Like if you're going like, oh yeah, when we hang out, but then again, smoke bomb murdered my family or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can do that. You can say that, and then the friends will turn against them, and then Smoke Bomb will be screwed, right? That makes sense, right? But instead, he's not doing that. He's turning them in a loop, like, oh, you do not know what is gonna happen. Hoo, 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 hoo. Like, so I don't know what Onyx is doing here. I am proper, like, I feel like it's not the best avenue, because again, if you wanted to just take down Smoke Bomb, you would just turn their friends against him, and then they're alone and go desperate and be like lose completely, and then you gain allies because of like, oh, thank you for saving me from this evil entity, right? So it's like, I don't really know. But it does successfully get Smoke Bomb to get Walkie Talkie to think a little bit. Phone ends up having a little discussion with Glow Stick. Yet again, Glow Stick, as you can tell, is sort of just is thinking about the whole shebang with Pinpad and how, like, yeah, Pinpad won't tell him anything, and Pinpad knows, right? But again, yet again, you can tell it's not a rate. They just stop there instead of grabbing the ingredient. Grab the ingredients. So like, can't you multitask? Phone, can't you like multitask or anything? Why is it that when two characters need to have a discussion, they have to stop in place and talk? Like, Anyways, whatever. But yeah, they have the discussion. Phone goes in and mentions some of those secrets. Um, and the whole shebang. Phone does seem to also notice the whole sleep deprivation with Container, which is interesting because Phone, I don't think Phone ever asked Container about that because it was Walkie Talkie who went up to Container. Container said the whole detail about like asleep and all that jazz. But yeah, also Smoke Bomb and Walkie Talkie apparently share they just share an apartment. Like they're just proper, they are roommates, which is interesting little detail to know about. Which, because I mean, of course they've always been buddies, they were all together, but maybe they're like, but no, they live together. So that's an interesting detail. Um, And then phone questions Glow Stick about what's going on. Glow Stick blushes and lights up. I mean, I like that scene, because like it's a nice way to use the glow stick lighting up as an effect, because glow stick lighting up, they never use that, the fact that the glow stick glows, they haven't used that in the detail yet. I mean, I'm a little bit, I would have, I don't think it's necessarily the best time to do it, because like you and Pinpad, what's going on? It's like, no, like, what? This isn't a secret that you like Pinpad, like you've literally just told them they think Pinpad's holding secrets. That means you've been talking. That's not like a fit. Like with phone asks what's going on. Yes, something is going on. You just told them, but whatever. Um, Pinpad then proceeds to talk to just themselves for the next scene. I mean, like in the middle of the freaking room where walkie talkie was just a little bit ago. Um, I don't know why you're just talking to yourself, to be honest. I mean, if this would, I think, make more sense as a confessional than just for why are you yapping to yourself when walking? Like I don't know. But eventually you go find the eggs. Um, I think Pinpat chooses to not spit out any of the secrets. I don't really know what the secrets are. I think the secrets are just the droplets. I think it's just the whole container shebang that is the secret. Although I don't. It makes me wonder if there's other secrets that are like more important, that are like more personal to Pinpat. Because like if it's just a secret about container, I feel like you could hold that in to Glowstick without too much issue, right? But I guess maybe not. Maybe it's more for real. So the teams both unanimously decide to make French toast. I don't think they ever said that they had to make French toast. I think they said they had to make a recipe. Again, if this is a race, then where like the first food went, then you just need to give like a loaf of bread. You can eat it. It's not good, but like it would be a race. But it's not a flipping race. Anyway, yeah, eventually they get all back at roughly an evened out amount of time. The chef is significantly better at making food than anybody else. That would make sense. I would also believe that to be the case. um, they're literally making French toast, and the French fella is doing it. I like the whole phone popping in from outside the screen with a little pop up saying that it's a meme. Um, yeah, yet again, Onyx and Smoke Bomb are debating. Planty tries to say anything, and then it seems like, yet again, by the way, Planty is capable of using the leaves to make something work, which is interesting. It seems like it's actually maybe the opposite of what I said in the last episode, where it's like, oh, you have to find your inner peace, your inner flame, right? It's more like you literally have to find a flame. Like when Planty is literally like pissed, that's when they do stuff. Like they can only move around when they're pissed. So I guess you just have to be angry all the time. That's how you unlock good planting. Because when planting is relaxed, no, can't move the leaves. But no, only when I'm pissed off, then I can do stuff, which is interesting. Um, so then the challenge is over. Everybody votes for Onyx, if I'm not mistaken. Well, okay, I haven't said the challenge, but yes, obviously the um the French toast, the team B with the chef ends up winning. Kunai is surprisingly not very good at this. Kunai didn't do much here. Like couldn't preheat the oven, couldn't do that much. I mean, of course, Kunai was OP in the first two challenges. It just sort of it's a little bit like I'm just kind of surprised to see Kunai not be unbelievably good at everything again. But yeah, in this case they do lose. Either way, that team in terms of the voting gets it's a pretty obvious vote, right? Onyx gets out because everybody didn't like Onyx. Um, However, Team B is missing somebody, which is Canteen, which then they get eliminated. Yet again, I don't really know why Canteen gets out here. I mean, I understand that you don't do the challenge, you get out, but at the same time, there wasn't ever a quest. They didn't never ask. They never said like, "Hey, Canteen, get over here." Nobody tried to wake up Canteen. Right, like Container didn't do it, so it's like, why are you out? I don't know, like, but so that's kind of dumb, right, from Container's perspective. And also, the team literally considered Canteen. They were like, you could debate it as a strategy, right? Because Chef and stuff were like, hey, should we go wake up Canteen? The answer was no. Let's not include Canteen in the challenge. Which is like, I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but of course, it's supposed to be an unfair decision or whatever. But yeah, Container is definitely trying to get the show to work. Canteen as the next boot makes sense. Though, as far as the way, I don't think it makes too much sense the way it happened, but as far as the fact it happened, yeah, for sure. Um, as another one of those least competitors. Like we seem to be going in the order. Like we're currently having eliminations in order of the characters that least wanna win. We're going from least to most want to win, which I think would probably make me predict that the next elimination would be Pastry, because I truly don't think Pastry is doing that much. Pastry, yet again, has one scene where they come for the pumpkin, but other than that, Pastry does flipping nothing any of the time, and I don't know why. They just refuse to get Pastry to do a damn thing. I don't know what is the Pastry vendetta in the writing department of the show. Um, but okay, that is something. And then the post-credit scene is another pin pad moment from being awake while everybody else is asleep. Pin pad yet again, not exactly got the greatest line of logic. Is like, okay, this is everything Container ever wanted. So I could help at the cost of everything I created. What are you saying? What are you saying? It would be wrong to disturb the show. What, by helping? Go help. Oh my god. What are you doing? It's like, I don't like, what's the idea here? It's everything Containers ever wanted. Yes, but Containers is not okay. Help him make a show that's okay. Like, it's everything he ever wanted, but he literally can't sleep. He's oozing weird substances that you're freaking investigating on your spare time, which you have none. I don't know how you're doing that. And then it's like, whatever, dude. Whatever, bro. I, well, I don't know. But episode 4 is about to start the freaking premiere for it. So I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna cut this segment off a little short, and then we'll give a whole pep talk on the show and the state it's at after episode 4 finishes. So I'm gonna go watch that, and then we'll discuss it right at the end of episode 4. Let's go. I have just finished watching episode 4 of the episode right after the premiere, and I watch it live. Oh my god. Okay, first of all, these characters sound so different again. There's been like an 8-month gap, that makes sense. But like, wow, what is going on? Okay, design wise, we've remained the same. We've not had a change in the animation, everything's the same. But yet again, these VAs, I don't know what's going on, but there has been a major switch up. Onyx, especially. I don't know what it is with Onyx, but Onyx feels so different. Um, because like what it's just a contrast. I'm not that good at discerning exactly what is different, but I don't know, it just sounds different. Glow stick as well, and I think especially pinpad, because with pinpad they added this technological sound to it, which okay, makes sense, right? Because walkie talkie has it and whatever, but wasn't there before, so it's just being added. Or they say was there, but it was extremely faint. Now it's massive. Now it is just a thing. um so it is something crazy. Okay, now let's talk about the lore. So pinpad is roommates with uh freaking Container. So Container knows. Container Divisions is seeing, or like these nightmares is seeing pinpad. All right, so that's what we know, because they are roommates, and their house, as you can tell from the beginning, is, I mean, it's not even that similar to the one in the show, but in the challenge. But yeah, so they're all in the bus for some reason extremely early again. Walkie talkie is very much so seems to have been convinced by Onyx in a way, and is nudging at him like, oh hey, is this okay? Then we get to see Shelly, which is, I guess, okay, I guess it's Container's former roommate fella, which, alright, I see what's going on. Um, Start introducing the fellas. Everybody can tell the Container's not doing too good, but the Container's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm alright, I'm okay. Um, then Glowstick, which is way more glowy than usual, um, like significantly more. That asset has had a little bit of a revamp, um, as well. Starts speaking to it. Pinpad now has this one animation of them like sticking their fingers together, which they use like 4 times throughout the course of the episode. Pinpad's weird. I don't know. There's some switch up with the Pinpad vibe in this episode. Um, and then the challenge ends up being an escape room where, well, the contestants have to escape. They all happen to be conveniently split up into pairs that are exactly their groups, which is like, okay, bro. Convenient much? I don't even know. But the challenge is escape in whatever way possible. So the trio starts talking. Yes, Walkie Talkie is very distant from them because Walkie Talkie doesn't trust Smoke Bomb anymore. Because communication is banned in the show. Apparently, characters just can't speak to each other about stuff. Then Pastry and Pumpkin Helmet decide to split up and have their whole shebang. Pumpkin Helmet then complains about the finishing after leaving here, like, oh, what am I even doing here? Yet I'm extremely disappointed at one detail. I'm like extremely disappointed at one detail. Where did the confessionals go? Come on, confessionals. What do you do? What, come on, I need me my confessionals. Where are they? What's going on? Instead of just having characters talk to themselves about what they're thinking in the middle of the challenge, literally right after the other people leave, it's like, come on, you have to introduce the thing, use the thing. Whatever. So then there's a chef hat, which is yet again just one of the smartest people I think in this show. They do end up getting out. However, like they end up as definitely one of the smart people in the show. Like they solve the riddle properly, how it's properly meant to be done. Other people have it so much easier. Chef has like the hardest riddle of all time. Go find a paper, go up to the flipping ceiling to grab a key, and then go to the door. Right? I mean, the other people, they just find it. Glowstick and Pinpad have their own thing going on. Pinpad, what are they doing? Yeah, they have their whole dynamic. You can tell that they're doing the whole shipping thing. These two, it's like it's okay. I just feel like they switched up so much from episode to episode. Like Pinpad and Glowstick in every episode, it feels like the dynamic between them is just a bit different. Yeah, no, like it just, but not in the way where it's like it's developed to be that way. They just feel like it's changed magically sometimes a little bit. So this dynamic is fine. It's pretty good. It just feels weird when it's attached to like the other episode where they've not like sorted themselves out yet too much. Um, and it's like, oh, Pinpad's gonna say the secrets, and then it's like, no, never mind. Guess not. Um, so we are figuring out that yeah, Planty's deal is that when they're sort of upset, they can sort out their plant. You know, they can move around, and it says we found the key. I'm not really sure how, but yes, they did indeed do so. Um, so yeah, I think it's the idea. When Planty is upset and sort of got has the thing within them, then they can the rage fuels them to allows them to sort of control those leaves and be able to make stuff, as we saw in episode 2 with the catch, or in the episode 3 with the cooking. So I like what's going on with Planty. I'm liking that idea. I mean, Kunai is also acting as a mentor, trying to figure it out and helping out. Kunai in this challenge, I feel like doesn't really do much in like in terms of the challenge, because Kunai is an OP, and this is another challenge where you're supposed to find stuff, and we know that Kunai has the whole meditate and echolocate everything always. So realistically could have just been able to do it, but I think was doing the whole mentoring thing to them in the scenario. Then we see Container and Shelly trying to help each other out. Container is extremely tired with the whole situation, and it's like, take a break. No, yeah, you can take a break, you can take a sleeper day. People could literally tell you're tired. But you see, this is what happens. Nobody communicates in the flipping show. It's like everybody knows Container's tired, but nobody's gonna say it. Nobody flipping says it. Except Shelly, which doesn't like Container disregards, he's not a contestant. Then yeah, the pin pad and the whole thing. And then Shelly eventually listens to Container telling them to leave, and then they leave. I don't even know if they drink the coffee. Um, but yeah, whatever. Chef Hat does pretty well, has the key, and then Onyx pops up after trying to sort of trick Chef Hat into getting there. Then the trio, as you can tell, yeah, the walkie-talkie is sort of yeah, quite upset at Smoke Bomb for being all mysterious, but it's like, yeah, again, it's a massive set of miscommunication, because it's like you gotta say what's going on, but again, there's so little demanding that happens in the show sometimes. It's like everybody's got these secrets, but there's literally no demanding ever. Like Glowstick is like, "What's up?" Like for example, Pinpad secret. Okay, Glowstick is like, "Hey, is something going on?" It's like, "No." Okay, well, I guess I'll trust you. Smoke Bomb, you literally heard them say you went to jail. Like this is a fact that they know because of the one-liner, and it is not questioned. I don't know. I mean, I'll question it subtly by hinting at it sometimes, but I won't ever ask. I won't ever ask you to explain it because I don't know. At some point, they had to start demanding. Somebody. Shelly even for a moment tried to do it to Container, and then no, this Container's gonna go away, and it's like, bro. They just agree, like, no, somebody at some point has to figure out that something's wrong and has to get an answer out of them, because these people, they're just keeping doing the whole thing. If oh, something's wrong, I will say I'm fine though, and even though I'm clearly not, but for some reason everybody's like, okay, if you say you're fine, you're going to be fine, and it's like, whatever. Anyways, phone saves them. Um, Eventually, those three manage to get out. Again, I don't know how how does the challenge work. It's an escape room, but it's not individual. Hold on, how did this guy explain the challenge? An escape room. Today, a hidden room will exist throughout the room. The final contestant. Why isn't I don't know. Hold on. Today you face a test of more compact nature. We're headed for an escape room. Enter the room. The final contestant may. Yeah, there's literally nothing explains that they're together. I don't know how this was made. How these, of course, these pairs are made entirely for lore, but there's no in-universe explanation to why they're paired up or anything. They just are. They're just paired up in the space room, and specifically the friends in their order. Even though we saw in the last episode that Container literally prefers when the teams are random. Like, this is a quote that they said. So whatever. Then the roads get split up again, and then the challenge gets entirely swapped up. So when they get into the final little challenge, eventually Pumpkin Bucket tries to get Pastry out from the other side to get in. The Pastry decides, hold on there a minute, Pumpkin Bucket. I understand that we might get out, but I just gotta do a little bit of yapping. Now, I'm sorry. Some of these quotes, they just arrive at weird times. It's like it's almost like any time there's something that requires speed, right? In this show, it does sometimes feels like the characters specifically refuse to even dare to have a bit of rush to them. Um, so it's just like, I know what is the wait. Hold on. What is the state? I don't even know what Pastry's saying here. I know that sometimes if we let go, it can't hurt us in the way we assume it will. What? You don't want to be afraid. You're afraid of losing the game, so don't be afraid. Wait, none of us want to feel that way, but I understand if you like it. So is Pastry suggesting that they leave? The show? What they're suggesting? Was that the suggestion? I don't know what Pastry was suggesting here. Cause like, okay, you don't want to lose. Yes, true. You don't want to lose your friends, which you won't because, you know, like they're still around. They don't die when they get eliminated. But okay, cool. Um, Losing everything that makes you infinitely you. What? Dude, this quote is like so. This quote is so unbelievably deep that I don't even know how I can't even find what it means. So because from reading it, it's like sometimes letting go isn't that bad. So do you want to let go? Was that the idea? Was the idea that you wanted them to quit? Was Paisley going to be like, no, I'm sitting here, I'm going out? Was that the suggestion? And then Pumpkin Bucket was like, okay, let's go together, and then they eventually do. I maybe that was the idea. I'm not actually sure, to be honest. Um, but uh, but all right, I guess. So eventually, the final two end up being Chef Hat and Planty. Planty ends up figuring out by just getting angry at themselves that they're not as much as people perceive me. They eventually manage to get in before Chef Hat does, so eventually Chef Hat gets eliminated. Which is absolutely BS in terms of, like, of course, like the challenge. Chef Hat was like the only one that did it properly. I'm sorry. Like, we don't even like I don't think we get to see Glowstick and Pinpad be safe. Like, that's not a scene, right? Like, you get to see Pinpad and Glowstick talk about them, and then they eventually find a piece of paper, which is the first part of the trick. But they don't ever actually see them finding the key, solving the riddle, doing anything. No, we just get a cutaway at the end, and they're safe. Which is like, um, which is interesting. Uh, so that's something. Chef is the only one we get to probably see them do the challenge. Probably, maybe everybody else did it probably, but I don't really know. Like, Phone and the trio just sort of found the key around them. They never even had a paper. Same thing goes with, like, on. How did Onyx even get out? I don't even know. Kunai. I mean, those got out with the second part of the challenge where the riddles were scrapped. But like, it's just whatever. Um. Yeah. Eventually, Container tries to explain the reason to why they got divided. But yeah, no, Shefa absolutely. I think in an objective sense, in my opinion, one of the best characters in terms of, like, skill. As far as these challenges, Shefa had a pretty damn good go at every challenge. Was absolutely the best cook. Was a really good digger. For the fact that, like, there wasn't doesn't really have many special abilities to them. They were in there. And their elimination of her makes sense from a lore perspective because Shefa didn't have much going on. So, at some point, right, we gotta start getting an elimination that impacts something. Because right now we have, like, the only elimination with impact to it was maybe Bobber because it impacted Pumpkin Bucket. But other than that, these eliminations have been exactly the fellas that nobody cares about. It has been on episode 1, Watermelon, episode 2, Bobber, which didn't really have much of a relation with anybody except Pumpkin Bucket. And episode 3 was Canteen, which nobody cared about at all. And then if episode 4 was Chef Hat, which for as much as I personally liked them because they did well in the challenges, they were a loner. They didn't really speak to anybody. So, like, we're pretty much eliminating in the order that you would expect to eliminate when we call characters in order of relevance. Like, if I made a tier list, characters in order of relevance, those 4 would be the bottom 4. I would have personally eliminated Pastry. I think I said last time that I was predicting Pastry because of this, but they wrote Pastry to have a connection with Pumpkin Bucket, which I guess I should have seen coming, maybe. However, yeah, it's a thing. I would have kept Chef Hat around. I understand that I don't know who you would eliminate because everybody else is already pretty intertwined. But cause some chaos, cause some ruckus to go around, limited like Phone or something. Phone is currently really not a character that matters that much. Like they gotta like I don't know. And then Shelley discovers Pinpad's secret. So Pinpad is a graduate in object biology and chemistry. Apparently developed new findings of objects' ability to be influenced by environmental factors. Okay, so basically, yes, Pinpad is roommates with Container and is also the scientist. Cool. So, what are we thinking here? Because the thing about Container is that it doesn't seem that Pinpad knows what's going on either, though. That's the thing that's weird. Because Pinpad is like pretty clearly from the getting samples to do experiment, but Pinpad themselves doesn't seem to know. Like Pinpad isn't the cause of this. Like Pinpad's experimenting on experiment, but he's gathering samples to then experiment on the substance, right? So like is researching, I guess, on Container, because Container is doing the whole like chemical thing, but it doesn't seem like Pinpad is the cause of the chemical, like because Pinpad doesn't really know what it is either, maybe. However, I don't really know, because it is possible that it was like, oh, when they were roommates for an experiment, Pinpad was like, hey, can you drink this little potion I made? And then this potion sent this fella on a doozy while making the reality show. So now when he's, like weak of insomniac, he's starting to drip out this new thing, and then the Pinpad's so it is Pinpad's fault or whatever. And now Shelly's gonna try to sneak on the bus or whatever, try to get Pinpad out, have a discussion. It's like, hey, what's going on? We know that's probably not gonna happen, because literally nobody in this damn show asks questions. But like, it would be something. All right. Okay. So that's the recap of the current situation. The main trios are around still. The main groups of character. Onyx is sort of the learner. Me against them, where we don't really know if Onyx is the good guy or Smoke Bomb is the good guy between the two. It's possible that they're both bad guys. There is the duo Glowstick and Pinpad, but Pinpad's got the whole thing going on. And then there is the glue of Kunai and Planty. I like the fact that this duo formed still, because Kunai is OP. If they're just on their own. So Kunai has sort of been debuffed by having to, act chill and more as a mentor to Planty. Well, Planty is doing the whole arc of growth. So I like what's going on in this show. I feel like I've been very critical in these past 2 episodes of the lore of this show. I think I have, in my opinion, and I'm sorry. All right, I'm very sorry, because I think I've been very critical. But no, I like this. Again, I think I said this one time when watching OBS, but if I am criticizing the lore of a show, that means that their lore was interesting enough and compelling enough for me to think about it more thoroughly. All right? Which means I like it. I like the lore. I like what's happening. I'm just sort of debating it, I'm giving it its own discussion. All right? Because I think the main thing about this show is that there isn't a damn confrontational character in it. Like, nobody here asks a question and chases an answer. Because there is... What happens literally every time in this show is a character asks a question, the other character who's trying to hide something deflects the question. But the problem is it has to work like a boomerang, right? It has to deflect it and then it goes back, right? Because if you need an answer, you'll push it. You'll go like, what's going on, right? You can't just hide forever. And it's like, it's the way, and with some situations, like maybe Glowstick and Pinpad, I understand why Glowstick wouldn't ask. Like, it's like, okay, it's her thing, we're fine. But like in certain situations, like especially with walkie-talkie, you can't let it go. Like, you found out that this bro went to jail, didn't tell you. Now y'all live together. And it's like, you have to know what happened. Did you like kill a guy? What happened? Right? Like it literally is a thing that has to know. Like what Honest says, very deep and very deep. But it's like you need to chase an answer at that point. It's like it's not it's it just doesn't feel right for the character to just be there and be like, okay, and instead talk in this riddle to Smoke Bomb, going like, hey, you have something up your sleeve, don't you? Like there's in this indirect, like, going around when no, something should be up. Like, you have to sometimes be direct, because, like, again, I understand the whole thing where it's like, okay, I wouldn't want to doubt my friend that I've known for a long time and we get along well, but, like, there are certain points where you have to doubt them, like the time where the long-lasting friend that definitely seems to know lore says something extremely incriminating. Like, you have to ask at some point, that you can't trust your friend forever. And I feel like in this case, we've definitively crossed the threshold where it's like, I don't personally think that it makes sense for walkie-talkie and phone as well. By the way, Phone heard that too. Like, we're acting like Phone is the other piece of the component. I don't even know what's going on with Phone. Phone is like, okay, Phone didn't hear the conversation between Onyx and Walkie Talkie saying that, like, Onyx is like, that, oh, you're not the same, but Phone still heard the line of, oh, how's jail time going and whatever. Like, they were there as well, so that's also, Phone is also complicit in this thing that is happening. But, like, whatever. I don't really know. I don't like that. I mean, that is wrong. um and but other than that, it makes sense. Like, for example, Shelly. Shelly. I like the Shelly arc because, like, it makes sense. Shelly comes in, is confrontational, is actively rebutting to Container about what Container's saying. Eventually, she goes because she's like, okay, I'm not going to get an answer. And then she's, however, still doing research on her own terms and trying to figure things out, right? Now, I don't think she's going to be confrontational like how she should be. She, like, Shelly would have to take initiative by the fact that she's currently there, and the bus is about to go and not be there. But, like, she's not going to do it. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know if she's going to be even around in the next episodes, but whatever. So yeah, that's my main critique of the show. I think that characters, they're just not confrontational enough, Like, when certain pieces of information come out, somebody has to ask about them. There is no way, my opinion, that Smoke Bomb can get away with someone directly saying that they went to jail and are maybe even dodging jail time, only for the friends to go like, yep, I won't question this thing. It's just, whatever. And the other thing I critique is, lack of confessionals. Confessionals are so good. What happened to my confessionals? Please. I need my confessionals. They're like the best feature in every. They instantly make reality show 100 times better because you don't need to write a character just talking to themselves. When it said, no, we scratched the confessionals to have the characters talking to themselves when they're alone. It's like, whatever. And it's like, okay, I understand that sometimes the confessions don't make that much sense, right? Because it's like, how would you be in the confessional? But I feel like a lot of time, even like Total Drama or whatever, I feel like it's specifically not like that. Specifically, it's sort of out of this world event, and stuff. So where it's like, okay, where it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's the thought of that time, because in confessionals you sort of talk about the challenge after the challenge happened, like, of course you can't take yourself out during the challenge about what you're thinking, but you say what you're thinking after, so you can still use a confession, in my opinion. I think it'd be wrong to say that you couldn't. So yeah, absolutely, my critiques: make characters actually ask questions and demand answers, because in these cases there's just too much mystery to not demand an answer. And also use confessionals. If you made this feature, you made this feature, it's a good feature, episode 1, you made it, it's good, and you slowly stop using it completely, but like I think it's really good. So really, is write it into the show. Um, and yeah, I think that's what I've got to say. To be honest, as far as the other aspects of it, musically, yet again, very good. I honestly don't notice it that much. I think for this episode, it might have been mildly louder than some others, but it was fine. It honestly was not a critique at all. Animationally, again, very good, very, very, very solid. Um, I'd argue one of the best as well because just there's a bunch of complex angles, a bunch of good stuff. Maybe the last episode was a little better, but this episode is also pretty much up there. It's pretty much tied with it. What's the last episode? No, I disagree. I think it's tied. It is both very high quality because like the scene. Oh no, the scene container is really good. Okay, no. This one's better. Opinions changing in real time. I think that was a bit better than the other one in terms of animation quality. And then voice acting quality. No, the voice acting quality is good. Don't like. I have pointed out that the voices are different because I don't know what's going on. I haven't managed. I can't take in credits when I'm watching them live, so I'm not exactly capable of telling you if if the VA has changed. Hold on, let me check for a moment. I'm gonna check this because I want to know, like, what's going on. If any VA has changed, because this is something which I find pretty interesting. Because, like, if it hasn't changed, then I don't know what is going on with some of these characters. So, for example, Onyx episode 4, Remy. So then Onyx in episode, oh my god, got jump scared by the audio of the show. And then it's like, okay, so it's Remy. Then in checking episode 3, animation supervisor, background designers, or the VAs are like the last thing in the credits. So give it a moment. And Mr. P. No, yeah, no, it's the same fella. I guess they just got new mics. I don't know why. They just sound kind of different. No, the VAs are the same. Okay. That is. Yeah, that's interesting. The VAs are the same. I don't know why they sound different. I don't know why. I guess that it's just been a while. But yeah, they do somewhat definitely sound different. Did Pinpat change? Oh, Pinpat Kaiko. Episode 3 Kaiko, episode 4 Chloe Fandom Maybe that has changed. Maybe Pinpat changed. But other than that, everybody's pretty much the same. Unless it's like a name change. But either way, yeah. Voices sound a little bit different. Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. But like the voices themselves in each episode, I think is good. Like, I just think that sometimes it's different and a little bit of whiplash, going from one episode to another. That's the only thing that I think about it. But sometimes that's not fixable, Like if you got a different microphone, you got a different microphone, right? It's not too much to really discuss about it. Other than that, yeah, I think that's all I really got to say here. That's all I have got to say about my watching Project Breakout. Honestly, I was not expected to talk this much, but this is a really interesting scenario that I just had to yap about for a little bit. And it's been a while since I've had to properly yap about a long episode, because lately we've just sort of taken a look at the last few days more simple episodes, of the shorter 3-minute variety. So yeah, this was a change of pace. That's all for the Project Breakout special. Whew. Let's do the outro. Alright, that was all for this episode of Object Catchup. It ended up being a Project Breakout special, as I talked about these episodes for longer than I was originally expecting to talk about them, because they ended up being really, really interesting. That means we weren't allowed to cover many other shows today, because the runtime would have just been a little bit exaggerated. But don't worry, I am keeping a track of new releases and of the requests as well. So whenever we have free time, we will be looking at them, even if maybe a few days later and stuff. I'm trying to keep myself on the clock with majority of these releases, but I will be missing some, unfortunately, right? Like I cannot find every show under the sun, just due to how hard it is to find them. Like it's just There's so much sorting to do that's nearly impossible, right? And it's like, yeah, in a way, it just sort of complicated, right? Like for example, I don't know, if I look up Object Show and I look at today, it's like like what happens? Like we get the one, some shows with a few views, one take, and then some shorts, right? There's the other episode of filler, but like in general, it's just kind of hard to find because sea of shorts and all that jazz. But either way, we'll be back with maybe another special depending on what releases, of course, at the end of the Saturday. Every episode is dependent on what releases. And for now, that was all. See you next time. Now that we're all caught up. Goodbye.